Hello, everybody, and welcome back to True Gunners TV. I hope you're all doing well today. We are back again, back to talk about Arsenal, of course, and back to talk about the transfer rumours that are currently going around today. As you've all seen in the thumbnail, Arsenal linked to Tchouameni. Arsenal linked to Tchouameni. We're going to talk about Romeo Lavia. We're going to talk about Granit Xhaka as well. Romeo Lavia also heavily linked to Liverpool today. And Granit Xhaka potentially staying at Arsenal. There's a surprise. But before we get into all of that, you guys know the formality. Look at the buttons at the bottom of the screen. Make sure you're slapping up the likes. Make sure you're in the comment section letting me know your thoughts and feelings on each individual subject that we're going to talk about. And of course, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and the notification bell as well, so you get a notification every single time that we go live. And before we get into it all, of course, welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome to all the new viewers. We are absolutely flying at the moment on our road to 2,000 subscribers. My hope is that we can get there by the end of the month. So if you guys could help out by sharing the content around, and also, you know, the new viewers that are not subscribed to the channel, if you can hit that subscribe button, that would be a massive, massive help. But the first topic we are going to talk about is, of course, Tchouameni. Tchouameni linked to Arsenal again today. And I say again because this is not the first time that Tchouameni has been linked to Arsenal in this summer transfer window. Now, the reason why I had a bit of a giggle and a laugh was because, once again, this is a link that I don't fully believe in, to be fair. You know, I can see a scenario where he could potentially end up at Arsenal, and I'll explain that in a minute. But if we're being real, this one is just about as believable as the Kylian Mbappe one yesterday. If you guys haven't seen that video, make sure you go and check that out after this. But I will give, you know, the reporters who are reporting this currently at the moment a little bit of credit and say this is probably a little bit more believable than the Kylian Mbappe one, although I don't see it happening personally. So yeah, Tchouameni, I'm going to share the screen with you guys now, linked to Arsenal today. And this is what has been said. Arsenal could make a move for Real Madrid star Tchouameni after a deal for Declan Rice is set to be completed next week, i.e. this week. After signing Jude Bellingham for £88 million, Real Madrid could be forced to sell some players in order to comply with FFP rules if they are to also bring in star striker Kylian Mbappe. Funny that, linked to Arsenal yesterday. Arsenal are monitoring the situation closely, with Mikel Arteta wanting to bring in one more midfielder if Thomas Partey leaves the club this summer. Arsenal and Real Madrid have a very good relationship after past negotiations. Now, let's dissect that one. Let's dissect all of what he's just said there. Firstly, yes, Real Madrid have spent 88 million. In fact, it was a lot more than 88 million. So you need to get your facts right before you tweet out, my friend. It was actually 105 million euros or something like that for Jude Bellingham. But all of this about FFP and FFP that. Number one, I don't see Real Madrid going for Kylian Mbappe in this current transfer window as things stand, because he has 1 year left on his deal. It's running out. He's refusing to extend it. So why would Real Madrid go in and potentially have to spend £200 million on Kylian Mbappe, plus, you know, the ridiculous wages that he is earning at PSG, when they could potentially get him for free next summer? And not only that, Real Madrid don't tend to have issues with FFP anyway. They're normally pretty good with that sort of thing. So that's kind of definitely part of, you know, what he's tweeted out there that I do not believe, number one. However, having said all of that, I had a look earlier at the stats for Tchouameni for Real Madrid last season, and now he did only come into Real Madrid at the beginning of last summer. You know, the last summer transfer window was when Real Madrid signed Tchouameni for 80 million euros. Big signing at the time. And in his first season, out of the 56 games that Real Madrid played in all competitions, he made 43 appearances, so that's not bad at all. However, only 29 of them was starts in all competitions, that is. Yeah. So he made a fair few appearances off the bench. And there was rumours going around that Carlo Ancelotti doesn't 100% fancy, Tchouameni as a starting player at Real Madrid just yet. Now, what you can say is it's the first season, the first season in the Liga. It's a bit of a transition year for Tchouameni. And as I say, 43 appearances in total. That's still very, very good. That's still well over half of the games that was played by Real Madrid. And now that they've got Jude Bellingham, I can see why people are putting two and two together in saying that, he couldn't get in the Real Madrid starting lineup last season before Jude Bellingham was even there. And now that they've gone out and spent a lot of money on Jude Bellingham, you could probably see there being a scenario where Tchouameni doesn't start many games for Real Madrid. And I can understand that. I don't see Arsenal going out and buying this guy on a permanent deal. This is the only scenario that I can see Arsenal possibly signing Tchouameni in this summer transfer window. And even then, I don't really see it as a possibility, because there's a lot of talk that Real Madrid have invested heavily in him for the future. They want to keep Tchouameni, and they've even apparently told Carlo Ancelotti that he needs to start trusting and playing Tchouameni more regularly than he did last season. So it'd be interesting to see what happens in terms of his appearances this season coming. But there's one scenario where I could see him joining Arsenal, or even possibly, another Premier League club, another top club around Europe. And that would be on loan. If Real Madrid, for example, decided that with Jude Bellingham coming in, they've given new deals to the likes of Toni Kroos, Luka Modric. If they decided that, and even Dani Ceballos as well has had a new deal at Real Madrid. Dani Ceballos, you remember him at Arsenal. If they decided that because of all of this factor, Tchouameni wouldn't necessarily get much game time, then there could be a possibility where he asks to kind of go out on loan so he can get more game time. And then that kind of opens up the door for Arsenal to maybe go in there and get him on a season-long loan. His wages are £212,500 per week. So it's not it's not out of the realms of possibility that Arsenal could potentially do this deal if all of them things lined up and he became available on the market, because of course £200,000 is well within our wage structure, unlike Kylian Mbappe's £800,000 contract. So that's my thoughts on Tchouameni. I don't believe he will be an Arsenal player. I can see why, there's rumours going around that Arsenal are interested and taking a look at him. And I would be very, very worried as an Arsenal fan if we wasn't interested in a player like Tchouameni and of Tchouameni's quality, and we wasn't maybe throwing out there a possibility where we could maybe take this guy on loan at least. Don't see us signing him on a permanent deal at all. So that's my thoughts on Tchouameni. You guys that are watching, make sure you get yourselves in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts and feelings on that one. Also, make sure you're slapping up the likes, of course, and subscribing to the channel if you are new. and hit that notification bell at the same time. The next topic and subject we're going to talk about, and this has been spoken about a lot today again, another topic that is trending on Twitter right now. And this is why I like Twitter, because last night, you guys that are on Twitter, you guys that use Twitter will know this. The other guys that are watching that are not on Twitter probably won't know this unless you watch the news. Twitter was down. Elon Musk had done some weird shit that stopped people from being able to view tweets and use Twitter properly. I'm glad he's fixed that now because, like I say, Arsenal fans can be hilarious at times with the way that they kind of put 2 and 2 together and come up with 5 and link us to some just out there players that we're never ever going to sign. Kylian Mbappe was a prime example yesterday of a player that we're never ever going to sign. But one player that could potentially come in at Arsenal and we are very heavily linked to is Romeo Lavia. Romeo Lavia, of course, 19 years old, young, up-and-coming talent, had an excellent season at Southampton last season. Even though they got relegated, he was probably their standout player, even ahead of, the likes of James Ward-Prowse, who a lot of people rate quite highly, James Ward-Prowse. But yeah, Romeo Lavia stood out in a very poor Southampton team, and there are a lot of top clubs in Europe currently looking at this guy and looking at the potential of taking him on a permanent deal. Of course, top quality talent. He has to remain in the top league. There's no way that I can see a scenario where he stays at Southampton and stays in the Championship with them. So I believe Romeo Lavia will move this summer. Where will he move to, though? And this is the interesting question because there's a bit of a merry-go-round going on in the Premier League at the moment in terms of midfielders. Arsenal are about to complete the signing of Declan Rice, our number 1 target. Chelsea also look like they are going to resume negotiations again next week with Caicedo. Caicedo is apparently said to be happy to join Chelsea. He's agreed personal terms, and it's just down to Chelsea now to agree a fee with Brighton. And then other teams that are looking at midfielders currently at the moment in the market is, of course, Liverpool. They've just signed Dominic Szoboszlai. Manchester United have just signed Mason Mount. And there is a lot of demand in the market at the moment for midfielders. And Romeo Lavia is being heavily linked with all 4 clubs, really, as a potential replacement or a potential incoming for all 4 of these clubs. And I see, again, Arsenal were the front runners in terms of being linked to Romeo Lavia. There was a lot of talk earlier on in the window that if Thomas Partey was to leave, which we still don't know is going to happen in that situation just yet, that Romeo Lavia is a potential player that we could be looking at to bring in. Caicedo was also another one, but as I say, it looks more and more likely that he will join Chelsea. And only today, there has been heavy links of Romeo Lavia to Liverpool. Once again, I'll share the screen with you guys. Let's see if I can work. Sorry about this. I'm just trying to get used to this sharing screen stuff. Liverpool. Here we go. So, highly respected journalist Ben Jacobs today has tweeted out that Liverpool seriously exploring Romeo Lavia. Southampton value Lavia around £50 million, which we all knew from earlier on in the window. But Liverpool also feel a lower fee could be possible. Arsenal are not advancing on Lavia yet, but he's also on their radar. Chelsea are focused on Moises Caicedo for now. Still told that Caicedo will cost Chelsea 70 million plus add-ons is a possibility for Chelsea. There is also another tweet here that I want to show you guys. Where is it? It was talking about Arsenal. Here we go. And this is a quote from Fabrizio Romano on why Liverpool aren't finishing in the transfer market. There is still a desire to bring new players in this summer. Keep an eye on a new centre-back. And they are working on Lavia as new defensive midfielder. Now, apparently, the reason why Arsenal... I will find this tweet, I swear to God. Here we go. There is interest and contacts from Arsenal, but still no bid. Liverpool are now into the race. They are working on Lavia and are now having direct contact on both player and club side. Liverpool and Arsenal are both in the race for Lavia. Again, that is another quote from Fabrizio Romano. So it's looking like Liverpool are, at the moment, the most interested club out of Arsenal and Liverpool and everybody else. Liverpool, as you just see there, working on not just the player side, which I would say Arsenal have probably already, discussed anyway, but also the club side. So they are looking to get this deal done as quickly as possible. They are looking to see how much Southampton might command for Romeo Lavia. Of course, quote there of £50 million, but Liverpool feel that they could get that deal done for a little bit less. So it'll be interesting to see over the next couple of days just exactly what will happen in the race for Romeo Lavia. Will Arsenal be forced into kind of joining the race, or will we allow him to possibly join Liverpool and look at other targets? It'll be interesting to see what happens in that one. Get yourselves in the comments section, guys. Let me know your thoughts and feelings on Romeo Lavia. I put a poll out earlier on the page. If you go to the community section of the page, I put a poll out saying, where do you think Romeo Lavia will end up this transfer window? It's clear to see he will not be a Southampton player at the end of it. Will he end up at Arsenal or will he end up at Liverpool? These are the two clubs that are heavily interested in him at the moment. Could see him maybe go elsewhere. Who knows? But at the moment, as things stand, he could potentially either be an Arsenal or a Liverpool player. Which club do you see Romeo Lavia joining this summer? And then our final topic today. Again, this is something that is trending on Twitter. Granit Xhaka. Granit Xhaka, as we all know, was expected to leave Arsenal this summer. And just before the end of the season, it came out that Bayern Leverkusen were extremely interested in Granit Xhaka's services. And Granit Xhaka himself felt that maybe it was time to move on from Arsenal. And, we all see at the last game of the season against Wolves, there were fans chanting and singing at the Emirates, "Granit, will you please stay?" Not for me. I would rather move on from Granit Xhaka and bring somebody else in. However, reports today suggesting that Granit Xhaka may end up staying at Arsenal, and we're just going to have to kind of wait and see on this one, because it's an interesting scenario. Imagine if Liverpool get Romeo Lavia. Could we see Granit Xhaka stay at Arsenal? Now, this is a report from The Athletic, I believe this one came from, and it says Bayern Munich's pursuit of Granit Xhaka remains at a standstill. At the standstill it was earlier this month, although the progression in Arsenal's chase for Declan Rice could move things along. Even so, from Arsenal's perspective, it is not a need to sell Xhaka. So that sounds to me very much like Arsenal want to keep Granit Xhaka. And it is actually Granit Xhaka that is kind of saying, you know, I may move on, I may not, it all depends. But the fact that, you know, there's a bit of a standstill going on with Bayern Leverkusen kind of tells you everything that you need to know. There's no real talks progressing on the Granit Xhaka deal as of, this moment in time. There was reports that a fee had been agreed of £13 million. Granit Xhaka's, big talk on the Twitter football today. Let's remove that. So, yeah, there was also talks that Arsenal are now looking to put the price of Granit Xhaka up. £13 million was agreed at the beginning of the window. And now Arsenal are kind of second guessing and questioning as to whether they should maybe ask for more money from Bayern Leverkusen. And that is also part of the reason why apparently this deal hasn't progressed. We're going to see, we're going to see this week. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of talk that both the Declan Rice and Aurelien Timber deal will be announced this week. In fact, I can't remember who shared it. Otherwise, I would show you guys on the Twitter sphere. Let me see if I can find this one. But apparently the Arsenal club store is closed. Club store. I think it was on this one. I think it's Barstool that shared it. Let me just see if I can find this. Might be on Troops' page. I don't know. Let me have a look again. There you go. Look, you can see it right here. Troops has shared this on Twitter. So apparently, stadium tours at Arsenal are closed on the 3rd of July, which is tomorrow. And that is some of the tours. And all of the tours will be closed on the 8th of July. So that's an interesting one there because, they don't tend to do that sort of thing unless they have something planned. So the fact that they are not doing any stadium tours on the 3rd of July tomorrow and on the 8th of July, kind of, you put two and two together and it looks like, these signings will be announced on them dates. So it'd be interesting to see with that one. Thomas Partey, will he stay at Arsenal? Who knows at the moment on that one? There was a lot of speculation and rumours that he could go to Juventus, he could go to the Saudi. There's a lot of stuff that is still kind of ongoing at Arsenal at the moment. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. Apparently, we are looking to get another top class signing in. Not sure what area of the pitch that will be. Me personally, I feel like we need a striker. However, there's a lot of rumours that will be another midfielder. So it'd be interesting to see if Romeo Lavia does end up at Liverpool and Granit Xhaka ends up leaving, possibly Thomas Partey as well. Will that force us into the market for maybe one or two, more players? So, yeah, let me know in the comment section what you feel about the potential of Granit Xhaka staying at Arsenal. Do you think he will stay? Do you think he will leave? Let me know on that one. I'm going to get into a few of your comments, guys. Make sure you smash the likes up. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe button if you are new to the channel and the notification bell so you always get a notification when we go live. The road to 2K, we're on it and we're flying at the moment. If we can get there by the end of the month, that would be very, very much appreciated. But as I say, I'm going to read out a few of your comments, and then I'm going to make my way out of here, guys, to go and watch Love Island with the wife because I'm sad. So here we go. Here we go. Who have we got in the chat today? We got Luca. Big up yourself, Luca. How are we doing, bro? Niall says, big ups, Brandon. Announce Rice Baby, Timber from The Lion King. And Tchouameni will be a great signing if true. Tchouameni would be an excellent signing. Can you imagine a midfield of Tchouameni, Rice, and Odegaard? Like, that would just be next level. We ain't getting Lavia 100% Hawkwind. Listen, bro, I'm going to have to take your word for it because you was right about the Declan Rice scenario. You know, I kind of questioned whether Arsenal would get Declan Rice over the line after Manchester City entered the race. You told me that Declan Rice will be an Arsenal player 100%. You was right. So I'm going to trust your judgment on this one. And he says we ain't getting Lavia. So in that case, people that are watching and people in the chat, if we don't get Lavia and Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka move on, who should we go for next? Because it's looking like Caicedo is going to go to Chelsea. So who would be your next midfield choice and target? Let me know right now in the comment section. I've seen Liverpool were looking at Lavia. Yes, they certainly are. He would be an excellent signing for them. You know, again, they're looking at that type of midfielder that's a little bit of like a midfield destroyer, can break up play, but can also be progressive with the ball. You know, they've signed Dominic Szoboszlai, who is basically like their Martin Odegaard, their Kevin De Bruyne, their Bruno Fernandes, whatever you want to call it. They've got, you know, McAllister in there as well. Very, very good player. Kind of, you know, the sort of role that he would play is kind of like the, you know, the Mason Mount type role that we're probably going to see him play at Manchester United. And then, you know, there's big question marks over Fabinho in their midfield, and Romeo Lavia, you know, would be a very good signing for them. A very, very good signing for them. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that one. Rodney, how are we doing, Rodney? Big up yourself. There's lots of people in the chat. Big up yourself. Skills as well. Would it be possible I could come on live, please? Look, the more we grow the community, I am going to sort out doing possibly once a week a live stream where I get you guys on and you can come on and you can have your say. But we'll talk about topics, you know, that are related to Arsenal, a bit like what we are doing right now. But we're going to do stuff where I can kind of get your guys' opinions on it and get you involved. But I've got to try and set something up for that. You know, I'm kind of reasonably new to this YouTube game, although I have been doing it for a little while. But, you know, I want to kind of make sure that I'm doing it right. So, yeah, I 100% will get you on, Rodney, when, you know, I can do these call-in shows, which I am planning on doing. So, yeah. Tchouameni and Rice in midfield, absolute fire. Granit Xhaka better than Kai Havertz. It's interesting. We're going to see. Would you take Mbappe at Arsenal, Brandon Nile? Make sure you go and watch the video that I released yesterday about Kylian Mbappe, because obviously you haven't seen that. I would take Mbappe at Arsenal. Who wouldn't? But there's no chance of that ever happening. NS Sports TV, how we doing, bro? How we doing? Who else we got in here? We got Nino, 1983. I think we can get him on loan. Yeah, it's a possibility we could get Tchouameni on loan. A lot of things would have to fall into place, but it's not out of the realms of possibility. Do you know what I mean? So I want Arsenal to win the Premier League and a FA Cup minimum this season. No excuses. Big up yourself, Gunner 9. That is the minimum requirement for me as well. If we can take it one step further, then even better. But I don't think winning the league is an absolute guarantee. So for me, I'd like to see Arsenal at least compete for a league title again this season. We have to win a trophy. That is an absolute formality. We have to win a trophy this season. If we do not win anything this season, regardless of how well we do in the league or how well we do in the Champions League, then I'm not going to be a very happy Arsenal fan, let's put it that way, because football is all about winning trophies. That is what the aim of elite sport is, to win trophies, and I want to see Arsenal win a trophy this season. I also, expect us to go quite far in the Champions League. And when I say quite far, I'm not talking final and all that, because that's unrealistic. My realistic expectation is, make the last 8. At least go that one step further than what Arsene Wenger used to when we used to get slapped up by Bayern and Barcelona. At least if we can make it to the last 8, compete for the league title and win a trophy this season, I would accept that as a good season for Arsenal. But we can't continue going on without trophies. Warren here says we got a better chance of winning Champions League than us signing someone like Mbappe. We couldn't afford his wages. Exactly. Arteta logic, throw Lokonga into a one-man pivot against Nottingham Forest, having not kicked a ball in months. Great manager. See, these are all things that Arteta is going to have to learn from, and he's got to learn from these this season. The same Forest team that beat us when we had two-man pivot who play every week. Make that make sense. Yeah. There's loads and loads of things that you can criticise Mikel Arteta on, but he ain't got no room to be making errors and mistakes like he did last season, the season before, and all that. He has to have learnt from these mistakes. And this season, there are no excuses. Make sure we are competing for a league title and win a trophy this season. It was back again. We need to move on and get an upgrade on Xhaka. I agree with you, Chris. I 100% agree with you. For as well, people have a short memory, because Granit Xhaka had a very good season last season. Let's not get it twisted. He had a very good season for Arsenal last season. But in the 8 years that he's been here, that is the only good season that he's had at Arsenal. People forget about the fact that he used to consistently let us down. Let's remove the fact that, he come off the pitch against Crystal Palace and was giving it all of that and telling the fans to F off and all that lot, right? Let's take that out of the equation. What was Granit Xhaka for Arsenal as a player? He'd let you down consistently with red cards, yellow cards, He'd get involved in things that he didn't need to get involved in. Defensively, he was just, not it. Turning circle of, the Titanic. Very average player over the 8 years. And, it seems to me like Mikel Arteta has found the best position for Granit Xhaka and the best role for Granit Xhaka. And we see that last season. Can we improve on him? Of course we can. Russell says, my guy, big up yourself, Russell. We've got Rohale says, to be honest, if Xhaka stays, I don't mind. He could be used as squad depth. That's the only thing that I'd use him for is squad depth. Do you like Love Island, Brandon? I'm going to go watch that with the wife in a bit. Because I'm a bit gay like that. But, Amrabat would be my choice. Yeah, Amrabat's a great shout. I've been talking about Amrabat before as well, when he had a great World Cup for Morocco. I thought he had an excellent World Cup for Morocco, and I was surprised that teams weren't kind of taking a look at that guy then and kind of watching him and maybe making a few bids. And that Amrabat would be a very good shout for Arsenal, I think. Would you ever do neutral watch-alongs that don't involve Arsenal, like do watch-along for other games in the Premiership and the odd stream for an old firm derby or El Clasico or Italian football, etc.? Yeah, I'd certainly consider it. Definitely. I'm a massive football fan, massive football fan. I love football. And I do watch a lot of games, Premier League games, If I can watch every single Premier League game in the weekend, I will, you know. So, of course, my team's Arsenal and biased to watch Arsenal and that, but I do try and watch as many Premier League games as I possibly can. Don't really watch, like the Scottish League or La Liga or the Italian league, but yeah, it'd be a bit of fun. Of course, why not? Why not? If that's something you guys would want to see, then let's get it done. 600 million and one trophy ain't enough. I couldn't agree with you more, gonna nine. I couldn't agree with you more. I doubt Real would sell Tchouameni. Seems like paper talk. There's something to the rumor. That's what I would say. There's something to the rumor. And like I said, I can see a scenario where he could end up at Arsenal. Whether he will or whether he won't is a different matter altogether. But there's a scenario there where he could end up at Arsenal. He's played 29, 43 appearances for Real Madrid last season, only 29 starts. He was a bit part player in their squad. They've just brought in Jude Bellingham. If there's a possibility that he may, kind of be a bit part player for them again this season, I don't think Arsenal would, go out and sign him on a permanent deal. Why would Real Madrid want to sell him? Do you know what I mean? He's going to be a part of their future. But there's a possibility there that we could maybe get him on loan. But that's about all I see. Pluggy Steel, are these links real? This is not the first time that Tchouameni has been linked to Arsenal in this summer window. Whether the link is true or not true, I don't think anybody really knows, But of course, you'd expect a big club like Arsenal, who are back in the Champions League, who competed for a league title last season, to at least hold an interest in these type of players. Not necessarily go out there and buy them and get them, but at least hold an interest in the top players in world football. And that's, what we should be doing as Arsenal Football Club. We should be doing that. Xhaka in that car that wins one race in 8. Exactly there. Early Doors Football TV, big up yourself. Highbury local badger. I don't want Lavia. I want someone better than Partey. That's if you want trophies. And Xhaka can hit the road. Give me Barella, De Jong, Savic, Tchouameni, or hijack Tonali. I don't think we'll get Tonali now because that's pretty much a done deal. I was shocked, that Newcastle, got that deal over the line so easily because Italian players don't tend to like to leave the Italian league. Do you know what I mean? So, Newcastle getting that deal done, that's a big, big coup for them. Barella, yeah, top player. De Jong, I don't see Arsenal getting him, I don't see Barcelona selling him either. Milinkovic Savic is a possibility, but, the only thing that worries me about him is it's not really a long-term replacement for Thomas Partey. He's 20, what is he, 28, Milinkovic Savic? So you'll get a good couple of years out of him. But I think Arsenal are looking at long-term replacement. I think that is probably why, the likes of Lavia is being linked. Even Tchouameni, he's only, 22, 23 years old. So, yeah, interesting. I'm fine with a loan, says Samuel. Clock Orange says, we need to get Tchouameni. Yeah, I'd be well happy with Tchouameni at Arsenal. Barella is a baller. Barella certainly is a top player. But we will not be able to unless we pay 100 million euros. What about on loan, Clock Orange? What about on loan? That is the scenario that I've suggested. Give Pepe one more season with regular game time and give him a target of 25 goals and assists. And if he don't deliver, get rid. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Nicolas Pepe. I'll probably bring a video out about that tomorrow because I am aiming to do at least one video a day. Keep the content coming for you guys. again, make sure you're slapping up them likes, hitting that subscribe button. Push, push, push. We are on the way to 2,000 subs. And if we can get there by the end of the month, that would be excellent. But yeah, I'll bring out a video about Nicola Pepe and we'll discuss that one and what I think might happen. Maybe throw out a scenario there where he may stay at Arsenal. Who knows? Who knows? It'll be interesting to see. Lavia, no academy player. We want players with high intensity. Lavia's, yeah, I see what you're saying there. You know, Lavia's a risk because he's young. You don't really know what to expect from him. He had an excellent season for Southampton last season, but can he, you know, deliver that again? Big risk. But for £40 million in, you know, a market where you're paying ridiculous amounts of money for players, he's got the potential. He's got the potential. Arsenal should just get Lavia, Onana, Barella, Tchouameni, Savic, De Jong, a winger, Moussa Diaby, and a striker, Muani, Vlahovic, or Abraham. Definitely feel like we need a striker, bro. Definitely feel we need a striker. I would take Vlahovic, to be fair, even though I think that, you know, that ship's kind of sailed. I'd take Muani as well. Tammy Abraham, I don't know about Abraham. And a winger, Moussa Diaby, that's another player that is heavily linked to Arsenal. Maybe we'll talk about him tomorrow as well. If we're giving 60 million Havertz a chance, why can't we give Pepe a chance? Exactly that. Saka needs quality rotation. Moussa Diaby, another CM2, but we have options. And then the last comment I'm going to read out today is from Early Doors Football TV. With all these players mentioned, the question is, how will you get them? FFP and selling players on has to be the priority if you're going to get more in. Have to sell first. Yeah, that's definitely something that Arsenal, you know, I'm going to be looking closely at with Arsenal in this window, because transfer windows is not all about who you bring in. Of course, us as football fans, that's all we really care about, you know. If your football club is in a certain position, you want the football club to bring in top players, spend as much money as they can to improve the squad. But the transfer window as a whole, you know, Edu's received a lot of criticism for the way that he deals with certain things in the transfer market. You know, the massive criticism of Edu, and even, you know, if you go back to Raul Sanelli, was how much money we can actually fetch for players that we sell on. You know, you look at Chelsea. Chelsea's a prime example here. They don't want Kai Havertz. They don't want Mason Mount. They don't want Koulibaly. They don't want Ziyech. These players, they've managed to move on and they've recouped, nearly £200 million from them. And we watch Arsenal, you know, in previous years, tear up contracts for the likes of Aubameyang, allow players to move on for peanuts, losing Alexis Sanchez on a free transfer, Van Persie. So it's going to be interesting to see if that narrative has changed and we can actually get decent fees for the players that we no longer want at the football club. So, yeah, but you are right. You know, eventually FFP will come into it if we don't start recouping decent amounts of money for the players that we want to move on, especially when we're spending big money. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. We've got a lot of players to move on as well. You know, we've got a hell of a lot of players to move on. But listen, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. Love Island is on in about, an hour? So, yeah, I better go and sit down with the wife, otherwise she'll be complaining, even though, you know, I don't know. Maybe I might go on Love Island and, yeah, maybe. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Make sure you slap the likes on the way out. Make sure you subscribe as well. And we'll be back tomorrow with some more content. And I look forward to seeing you all. Peace.